Welcome back to the channel, folks. My name is Kevin. That's Kevin, all caps, if you're searching for me on YouTube or Google. And I had a very interesting question asked to me. I'm an older person and looking to protect my money. And where do I put it? Well, this is a very good question, especially in taking into consideration the current threats that we face. Now, I posted a video yesterday. I encourage you to go check it out, which I share with you information from real life events and stories from folks who had funds in their bank accounts, basically frozen and locked out, and they were unable to gain access to their own money in the banks. One of which even had their bank account closed, only to have to wait several weeks to receive the check from the bank with their funds that was then canceled and unable to be deposited or cashed at another bank. And these are some of the pitfalls that we're seeing occurring with folks' bank accounts, the banking industries, the current banking liquidity crisis, the economy, high inflation, global inflation, and mass layoffs occurring every single day. Major companies affected, several smaller companies that don't make the news that are affected, and they are losing staff and cutting staff and closing doors and basically shutting down their businesses left and right. And this is a sign of the times. This was expected. And if you didn't expect it, then perhaps maybe you were naive, you're new to business, you haven't been watching my channel, or you just hoped that this wouldn't happen. But in my opinion, I saw this coming. I saw the writing on the wall. There was too much too fast. And now it's time for the cycle and the evolution of business to catch back up. I'm actually seeing it across several industries, one of which being YouTube, which is very, very interesting, as I am seeing some channels facing possibly similar situations. But the beauty of a YouTube channel is that if built correctly, then it shouldn't really cost you much money to operate. Therefore, there's no overhead and there's no need to shut down when times aren't great. However, when times aren't great, that's when businesses need to be evolving to survive. And if you're not looking at your YouTube channel as a business, then you're probably not looking to evolve. Therefore, you're probably less likely to survive. I'll just leave it at that. Now, the question of where do I put my money to protect it? Well, in my opinion, that's a very easy answer. You don't put it all in one place. Plain and simple. Diversity is very important to me, and not putting all my eggs in one basket is something that I prefer to do on a regular basis, just to further protect myself. Now, we all have, accidents and malfunctions and glitches, and that can happen. You ever try to log in somewhere using a username and password that you think you remember, only to no, you don't remember. So you accidentally enter it in 3 times incorrectly, and then you're temporarily timed out and locked out by accident. And that can happen with a bank. Ultimately, if all your money, all your assets, all your wealth, all your savings, everything you've got is in one location, and perhaps maybe there's an accident that temporarily times you out, well, then that just locks you out. Then you have no access to anything. Whereas if you had multiple locations, diversity in your portfolio, okay, I'm temporarily timed out over here, but I do have funds and assets over here in a pinch. Not to mention cash in the safe. Come on, guys, cash in the safe. Now, the big thing is, beyond that, what is your goal for your money? Because typically the savings account, the bank vault, the safe, it's not really safe, okay? But it's also not really working for you. And you know me, I want my money working for me, not the other way around. I want the economy working for me. I don't want to work for the economy. I don't want to trade my time for dollars. I want to send my dollars out into the world to bring back more dollars. Now, With that being said, what is your goal? What are your needs? What do you foresee in the future? So let's just say, for example, you are looking to invest in real estate, and you know you're not making a purchase this year. Therefore, I would want to put my money in a safe place that allows it to grow at a reasonable rate of return, that allows me easy access to it within 30 to 45, maybe 60 days. Because once I actually do find a property, once I do submit an offer and go under contract, you have a window of time before closing before you'll actually need the funds. Now, if I'm saying I need to protect my money on a day-to-day basis, but I need it every day or could possibly need it tomorrow, then more than likely a traditional bank is going to be best to have access to it. But with that, you have to know that you're not going to be gaining, earning considerable amounts of interest on returns on those funds. Well, you're 20 something, 30 something, and you're smart and you're thinking about the future, and you are saying to yourself, you know what? I want to have money down the road. I want to build wealth. I want to have a retirement plan, this, that, and the other. I want to be able to invest in businesses and properties and other cash flow producing assets. I don't need this money for 30 years. Well, then that's a completely different story of where to put it. However, we need to be careful about where we place those funds, because you think about it, some folks may have thought that they were placing their funds in safe cryptocurrency investments, only to realize that that is not the case. Case in point, FTX. There's a lot of folks out there left holding the bag. There's several other wallets and platforms that have burned their users and investors, and also with FTX actually bringing in their talent and celebrity faces that are being roped into this. And the list is growing with the amount of people who are involved in this. And to me, I don't necessarily. So this is something that we discuss early when looking at building wealth long term. And the longer you have, the greater opportunity you have for growth. But the most growth typically occurs in two different ways. One, you can accumulate growth quickly, or you can accumulate growth long term. Accumulating growth quickly typically comes with higher risk. Accumulating growth long term typically comes with lower risk. However, if you're using your wealth as compound interest to further build more wealth, then some folks may want to accumulate more, a greater return, faster, sooner, so that return can grow long term. Now, there are a ton of school of thoughts behind this and different ways of doing it, but at the end of the day, none of them are guaranteed. None of them are 100% safe. And that is why we continuously push diversification. Now, a lot of folks look at real estate as a great way to safely protect their money. I do too. However, with real estate, you got to realize that the liquidity there isn't quite as good as a bank account or a savings account or anything, or cash in the bank. Because with real estate, the way that you're going to pull out your liquidity is going to be by a sale, or a refi, a cash out refinance, or a equity line of credit or an equity loan. So that also is dependent upon your income, your credit score, market conditions, lending practices. The list goes on and on. However, for long-term wealth building, real estate is traditionally a great investment that has built a lot of wealth for a lot of rich and wealthy people consecutively, historically over time. Now, we don't want to look at the peaks and valleys and say real estate's a bad idea. No, we can look at any graph and any chart and set the parameters in any way we want to make the data look the way we want it to look to prove our point. However, if we look at real estate as a long-term trend over the last 50 years, then it's an upward trend, plain and simple. But time is the factor, and knowing when to make a move is also most important. However, buying and holding for me is a preferred method because it just further increases net worth and increases my assets. And think about real estate. If real estate gets to a point at which you can't sell or refinance or borrow against to have access to the liquidity, well, you can always use that as a cash flow producing asset by renting it out. And I think that's where a lot of folks are going to end up here soon with the current state of the housing market, the height of the interest rates that I think are going to continuously go up and up and up, which just makes it more difficult and more expensive for buyers to secure mortgages and more attractive for potential home buyers to sit on the sidelines and wait and become renters until the market changes. And the market is forever changing. It's a delicate balance. It's like that triple beam scale, trying to get it just right. That's all it is. You move the weight to one side, you see what happens on the other side. You move the weight back to the other side, see what happens until you can kind of get it just right. But it's always changing. And so, with that being said, some folks may look at real estate as a way to protect their money, especially long term. If it's an accumulation of wealth, if you have multiple millions of dollars, odds are you're probably not going to need access to a ton of the liquid asset, being the cash. So what you want to do is you want to protect it from damage and theft and loss. And real estate is a great tool to do that because there is a physical asset associated with it, with insurance that is typically appreciating in value. Now, there's other ways of doing it. I was actually speaking with someone just yesterday, and they were telling me that they were involved in what's called a retail arbitrage. And this is where they go out and they buy inexpensive items from different stores local to them, and then they sell them on eBay for a profit. And, the cool thing about this is for folks out there who don't have the money to save and protect yet. This is for the folks out there looking for ways of making the money to then save and protect. And with this, it's like, this is a really cool gig. And we've actually done it before. And some folks will say, well, I don't have the money to get started. And actually, there's a young lady on YouTube, and she was interviewed, and I think it was JT Innovations that interviewed her, and she was flipping cell phones. Now, I don't know the full story, but it's a similar philosophy and business model. And for those who don't necessarily have the money to get started and want to go out and flip an iPhone or a Samsung Fold or Galaxy or whatever it may be, this is why credit cards are huge, because they allow people access to liquidity that allows them to build wealth, to then save and store, reinvest, and earn returns on. So if you wanted to get started and you had a credit card, what you could do is you could go out there. It's like, I don't have the cash, but I got a credit card with a $10,000 limit. I'm going to invest $10,000 from my credit card into this arbitrage so that I can purchase these items, market them, relist them, package them, and sell and ship. And I'm gonna earn a 30% margin. So if I'm earning 30%, let's just say it's 30% net, not gross, net return, then that means I'm going to use a $10,000 credit card limit to earn $3,000, more than likely within 30 days. I'm going to earn $3,000 on my $10,000 credit card investment that actually cost me zero. And when I earn that $13,000 in revenue, I'm going to immediately pay back my credit card's $10,000 balance, bringing it down to zero, extracting my $3,000 profit from it, and not paying any expenses on that money. Now, the next time I could do it with $3,000 cash that I now have of retained earnings that I'm reinvesting back into my business, and $7,000 of credit card leverage debt to do it again. Or I could do a $13,000 investment with that continuously growing, more than likely moving me in a position where my credit card limit then goes to 15,000, then goes to 20,000, then goes to 30,000, and allows me the ability to scale my business so that I can earn this 30% net return faster and greater with compound interest, like compounding each time I do it, making myself bigger and stronger. Not to take the profits and spend them, but to use those profits and help grow my business to a bigger size, a larger scale business, a more profitable business, a larger volume business. Then I'm an employee of that business. I'm earning an income. That business is retaining earnings. That business is becoming more valuable than I am, and that is a way of protecting your money, especially if the business is structured properly. That is another form of protection because you need the personal protection from potential outside influences that could try to attack you and all the money you have in your savings and your checking accounts and different various investments that are in your personal name. That's a big deal. All the big major wealthy players out there, they are usually personally worth very little in comparison to their actual net worth and the actual monies that they have earned in their process of building this wealth, because this is a smart and strategic move of protecting your assets and becoming what is considered to be judgment proof, liability proof, and invisible. That's important. And when you personally are invisible, that also makes you somewhat less visible to the 80,000 plus IRS agents that are out there trying to get those tax dollars. That's another way of protecting your money. Kind of hard to protect money that you don't have because you're shelling it out and giving it away to the IRS and to all these other entities that are trying to take their cut. Now, you'll say to yourself, well, Kevin, I don't have a credit card. I don't have a $10,000 credit card limit or whatever, because a lot of folks have been asking, hey, can you tell me more about this $10,000, this easy access to $10,000? Well, I can. The link is in the description. Go down there and check it out. And it's 100% free to apply. They can sometimes bring back results and based on your application in as little as 24 hours. And they're lending $500 to $10,000 that can be used in a variety of ways. That can either help you in a bind. It could potentially give you some form of cushion and safety net and nice warm and fuzzy feeling on the inside. Or it could also serve as a platform and a base for you to use to invest in a business that's going to bring back a greater return than the money that was borrowed. And depending on the circumstances and the terms and the loan amount and your income and all the other varying factors that go into it, the interest rate on it could be relatively low and low enough for you to earn that 30% profit and carry that debt that allows you to grow to a point of which you no longer need that debt. And they don't discriminate against credit and credit scores. So just because you may have been denied somewhere else, or you may consider yourself as bad credit or not credit worthy, you may be surprised at what you find with these folks. So there's a link in the description. Go down there and check it out. But there's multiple answers to the question of how to protect and save your money. It boils down to, how do you need to protect it? How easily do you need to be able to access it? How quickly or how soon will you need it? And then the other is, do you even have the money to protect? And if you don't, well, then let's go get the money to have that conversation, to have that need of protecting it. Because it's like, some folks actually, we have these conversations often, and I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna bring a guest on and I'm gonna have them explain to you some ins and outs of the Social Security Administration's system and these government benefits programs, and some really interesting information that I learned just the other day. And folks are out there saying that they are afraid to get started building businesses and side hustles and passive income streams and multiple streams of income because they don't want to lose their benefits, only to not realize that, one, there are ways to do it and not lose your benefits, and two, you won't lose your benefits until you make too much money. If you haven't started to make the money, then you're worried about a problem that theoretically will never exist. So I would be worried about more getting my business started, generating the income and bringing in the money to then have that problem of losing my benefits. But if I can tell you right now, if I can start it and I can generate $1 and then $2 and then build on this compound interest and make four and then eight and then 16 and just keep growing this, then I know that eventually, probably very quickly, I'll be able to outpace the benefits that I receive from these government assistance programs so that if I lose it, I am now making more on my own through my own business than I was receiving through government aid. See what I'm saying? So I'm going to bring on a guest. Actually, I'll tell you what, you guys comment down below. If I get enough interest in the comment section that you guys want me to bring on the guest, I'll make sure to bring her on, and she can tell you guys a lot of things that you probably didn't know about. She's retired, disability retirement, Social Security benefits, and disability benefits, and she has some very interesting and I think some great information that a lot of folks are just not aware of, because she's been using this system for probably the better part of 15 years or more. Now, granted, she admits that when she first started, it was very difficult and not easy to navigate. And this was before the internet was as strong as it is today. But she's been through it. She survived it. She learned the ins and outs, and she has a lot of information that she wants to share and bring with you folks. She's actually on YouTube. So I'll link down in the description to her channel. You guys go check her out. And if you want more information, if you want me to bring her on and we can ask questions, maybe we could even do an interactive live stream. Just comment down below and let me know. And if there's enough interest, I'll make sure to make that happen. Now, besides that, folks, you got to make the money. You got to make the money. Like, without the money, there's really no need to have the question and the conversation of how do I protect it? And today, I think it's more important to make the money, because the protection comes from how do I protect my money from inflation? How do I protect my money from rising interest rates? That's the big one. How do I protect my money from higher gas and fuel prices? And just higher prices across the board as diesel fuel and gasoline prices continuously go up, as the price of oil goes up, as refineries go offline, further driving up these costs. That's going to be probably one of the most important ways of protecting your money, is just literally protecting it when you get your paycheck, that it doesn't just disappear with higher fuel costs, higher food costs, higher utility costs for rolling in the winter. I've already reported to you guys that there are some utility companies warning their customers to prepare for a 40 to 50% increase in their utility expenses because of the higher cost of fuel, lack thereof, the reduction of supply, increasing demand, driving up prices. This is probably the number one reason, question, problem of protection, more so than anything else, because your money is being taken away from you, theoretically stolen in a sense, robbed from you before you even get it, before you even get paid, before you even wake up in the morning, put that pot of coffee on, start your car up, make that long commute, sit in traffic, get to work 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, 14 hours, whatever your shift may be. Do that 5, 7 days a week. Perhaps wait a week or two, depending on your pay cycle, only to get that check and see that taxes have increased and inflation has gone up, which makes your money that you've earned less effective. You're not getting a pay increase. You're not getting a pay raise. All your expenses are going up, but your income staying the same or possibly being reduced in a sense because of inflation, while also on the teetering edge and brink of possible termination and mass layoffs, as they continuously are announced by businesses left and right, as they are feeling the squeeze of the economy and pulling back on the overextension that they actually engaged in during the height of the pandemic, when they were just going nuts. They were going nuts trying to get that money from the people, from these government programs, from the unemployment insurance, from the stimulus checks, and they went nuts. Then you have the supply chain bottlenecks and backups that eventually caught up to themselves, and here we are today, folks. Here we are today. Now, what's most important, I think, is that no matter what, every single day, I personally, this is my motivation for you guys. I want to bring you news, I want to bring you money, and I want to bring you motivation. And my motivation for you guys is every day I wake up, I'm thinking what's happening next? What's happening tomorrow? What's coming down the pipe? What is going to be the next growth potential investment building opportunity for me and my family and our financial cash flow situation and building businesses and aligning with businesses? Businesses are going to support businesses. I told you guys that before. Businesses are going to support businesses. Businesses are going to pay big money. Information is extremely important. If you're not creating content, I don't know why. If you are creating content and you're not monetizing that content, I still don't know why. And every single day, much like when the pandemic started, before that, I was even thinking ahead, which is why I quit my job and started my business, my one of my businesses that took over my full-time job. If you guys want to know more about that, comment down below and I can make a video explaining to you guys when I quit my job, how I quit my job, how I decided I was going to quit my job, and everything that went into that of quitting that job and going full-time on my own, self-employed entrepreneur, business owner, and investor, moving to the right-hand side of the cash flow quadrant to build wealth and further and build out my portfolio and my net worth for me and my family and my business. And when the pandemic hit, the first thing I did, I sat down with the family and we sat down at the table and I said, look guys, when this is over, when this is over, there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. We're not going to be losers. That's not an option. We're going to be winners. Now let's sit here and brainstorm on how do you win? Who's going to win from this? This is literally like day one of the pandemic. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, where's the win? You know, you don't want to make money from a crisis, but guess what? You can make money in a crisis. You see what I'm saying? So I'm sharing this information with you guys. I want to put you guys onto the sauce, okay? I want to motivate you. I want to bring you the news. I want to bring you the money. I want to bring you the motivation. It can happen. You can do it. Yeah, most of the stuff that we see out there is theoretically bad. The headlines are doom and gloom. You know, there's panic and fear out there. We are on the brink of a collapse for some. We are on the brink of, in immense wealth for others. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I want to bring to you. And what I do every day is I wake up and I'm thinking, not what am I doing today? What am I doing tomorrow? Because tomorrow is the future. And tomorrow is going to be a representation of the actions that are occurring today. So let me just break that down for you. So tomorrow is going to be the result of the impacts that we feel today from gas prices, diesel prices, food prices, inflation, interest rates, the Fed, the presidential administration. Tomorrow, we will see the effects of today. So I don't want to work for today. I don't want to plan for today. I don't want to invest in today. I want to do that for tomorrow. Because if I do that now, if I'm already positioning myself for the tomorrows down the road now, then I'm ahead of the game. I'm already in a position to win and grow and build and capitalize and see the returns and compound interest on my investments. So I encourage you folks to do the same and look at every day as tomorrow, not today, because that is what they want you to do. They want you to set your sights on today, have tunnel vision. At very best, you're not looking at tomorrow, you're only looking at Friday. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is, you're only looking at Friday. No, I'm looking at years down the road. I'm looking at continuously building wealth, networking and connecting myself with others in the same realm, on the same path, with the same visions and the same journey and the same trajectory that we can build off of each other, help each other grow, win together, and not worry about fuel prices, not worry about food prices, not worry about inflation so much. They affect us all. But when you are outpacing, when your plans and your efforts and your energy and your investments are outpacing the problems of today, then they're less of a worry for you like they are for others. and I watch and I pay attention to and I speak with and I hang out with and I communicate with some of the greatest, some of the best. And I want to bring that to you guys. I want to encourage you. I want to share with you. I want to motivate you. And at the very least, I want to inform and educate you. Even if you don't want to take action, I'll bring you guys the news, the updates, the information. I'll bring you guys the sauce. And when you're ready, I'll be here. I'll be here to help you. You guys take care. Be safe. See you on the next one.